Can't you even prepare properly? Hurry up and serve the food. Don't embarrass my mom like this. Huffing and puffing, Michael stormed out of the kitchen with an extra bottle of wine in hand. Of course, he never gave the slightest indication of helping. Silently, I began cleaning up the broken dishes. I'm so done with this. Why is it always just me? What happened? Just then, Jonathan, my father-in-law, who seemed to have arrived late, poked his head into the kitchen. Probably having heard the sound of breaking dishes. Seeing the array of dishes laid out in the kitchen, he looked surprised. All this. Don't tell me you did this all by yourself. With a sense of resignation towards Jonathan's attitude, I informed him with a touch of self-deprecation. It's always like this. I then gathered the broken pieces of dishes and stood up. Seeing me like this, Jonathan seemed at a loss for words. The sight of me, evidently more worn out than the last time we met, shifted his surprise to anger. I'll ask my wife what she intends. You come too. After telling me that, Jonathan led me to the living room. My name is Sarah, 32 years old. I've been married to Michael, who is 3 years my senior, for almost a year now. I had been working as an outpatient nurse at a small pediatric clinic since before I got married, but I recently switched to a general hospital in the same city for skill development. If it's been a year since the marriage, I believe it would still be considered newlywed by general standards. However, from day one of our marriage, we've been staying at my in-laws' house with my mother-in-law, Linda. The reason was that my husband wished it so, concerned about his mother who was left alone because his father was on a long-distance work assignment. At first, I also thought having more people living together would be reassuring. I believed we could help and support each other during busy times. But I soon came to understand painfully that this was a huge misunderstanding. Sarah, that's terrible of you. It was the morning after my first night shift since changing jobs. After managing to complete the unfamiliar work shift from midnight to 8:30 a.m. and returning home exhausted, I was met with a single displeased comment from Linda. It was 9 a.m. Due to a scheduling mismatch, Michael had already left for work. This time of the day is when neighbors frequently pass by our house. Whether she knew this or not, Linda confronted me loudly enough for neighbors to hear. How come you didn't prepare breakfast just for me? You meaning what? Well, breakfast? Confused by the sudden accusation, I pondered its meaning and felt perplexed. Because I had prepared breakfast for two before leaving for work last night. Most likely, Michael ended up eating his mother's portion as well. Even if I pointed this out, Linda wouldn't budge, insisting it was my spiteful act. In the end, I had to prepare her breakfast again, rubbing my sleepy eyes. Having an inflexible daughter-in-law is such a hassle. Even after having me prepare breakfast again, Linda didn't utter a single word of thanks. Instead, after taking just one bite, she complained about the taste being too strong and the food being too salty. But with my head foggy from sleepiness, I ignored her complaints and tried to leave the room as soon as possible to get some sleep. However, Linda coldly called me back just as I was about to leave. Wait a minute, Sarah, where do you think you're going? There are still dishes to be cleaned up. I'm sorry, Linda. I've just come off a night shift, so could you possibly take care of the cleanup? What? What are you talking about? Cleaning up is a part of cooking. Besides, since cleaning and laundry are your responsibilities, I've made sure to leave them for you. So if you're going to rest, could you please finish those first? Could I possibly do it after I've rested? What kind of selfish thing to say? You're the homemaker of this house now, aren't you? Well, I'm not heartless, so it would be different if you had kids. But you don't have any now, right? I'm on it. It seems I won't be allowed to rest just yet. Forced to whip my leaden body into action, I ended up doing all the chores as ordered by Linda. I'll take care of the household chores once you have kids, has become her recent mantra. And it implicitly means, why haven't you had children yet? Since Michael is her only child, Linda probably places too much expectation on me to bear her grandchildren. My friend's daughter-in-law got pregnant during their honeymoon, and another has already become a mother of 3. I'm incredibly envious. I also want to see my grandchild soon. Even without being told, I too wish to be blessed with a child soon. At the very least, it would free me from these daily jibes. But it hasn't happened. Over the past year, I've taken care of my health, tried supplements, and attempted everything that's said to be beneficial. I've tried everything I could think of. Despite all that, why? After finishing the tasks with great effort, I turned back to Linda, this time determined to tell her, I'm going to rest. But before I could speak, she smiled sweetly and said, Thanks for your hard work. It's about time for lunch. Pasta would be fine. In the end, I was able to go to sleep only after the clock's hands had significantly passed noon. Hey, Michael, let's have a talk about the fertility treatment. The doctor at the clinic said it's important for both of us to come in so they can create a proper treatment plan. Can you keep this Saturday free? One night, when Michael's overtime and my work shift didn't overlap, I shared with him the results from our recent visit to the fertility clinic. Though it was just an initial consultation involving submitting a basal body temperature chart, blood tests, and a brief interview. What? What's this all about? This is the first I'm hearing of it. I mentioned that I was worried about not having children, and you suggested I visit the clinic. Yup, I said that, but why do I have to go too? I understand his confusion. Although gynecology wasn't my field, I initially believed that fertility treatment was something women had to tackle on their own. That's why I went to the first appointment by myself. But there, Dr. Brown explained that treatment requires the cooperation of both partners. For a successful pregnancy, not only the wife's but also the husband's reproductive health is crucial. Semen volume, concentration, motility, and sperm morphology are all important factors that need to be checked. Depending on the results, it could significantly affect the treatment plan. In other words, Michael's semen analysis is quite important for fertility treatment. That's why I need you to come for the treatment plan explanation. You're the only one who needs to listen. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with me. That's not true. It's a matter for both of us, isn't it? Put yourself in my shoes, being asked when we're having a kid every time I see your mother. Don't speak ill of my mom. It's your infertility that's the problem. Just get it treated quickly. That's why I need your cooperation. Fertility treatment isn't just about checking fallopian tubes and follicles, a semen analysis is essential. I'm healthy and have no issues. Our sex life is fine, and I have plenty of volume, right? So, there's no need for a test. Then prove it. What if my colleague sees me there? Are you trying to embarrass me? In any case, I absolutely won't go. Did I make the request in the wrong way? It seemed to upset Michael, and he ended the conversation by pulling the blanket over his head and starting to snore loudly. Looking down at Michael, I let out a deep sigh. I believe that night shifts symbolize one aspect of nursing as a unique profession. While the arrangement of night shifts varies by medical institution, at my new job, we typically work 3 shifts. Besides day shifts, there are 4 to 5 night shifts per month, and including evening shifts, about 8 night shifts in total. But it's not the irregular work schedule that's the hardest. It's the volume of tasks assigned by Linda when I'm at home. Nurses are supposed to be exempt from day shifts after a night shift, but since I have to take care of household chores, I essentially have no days off. If I had known this reality awaited me, I would have never considered changing jobs. Linda became more demanding after our first year of marriage. Looking at her now, it's hard to believe, but right after we got married, she wasn't so overtly imposing household chores on me. Could it be because I still haven't been able to conceive? After enduring such a life for just over 6 months, my body, which was once slightly plump and healthy at the time of our marriage, has now become skeletal. With my flesh wasted away to the point where my bones are protruding, transforming into a clearly sickly figure. However, strangely enough, it seemed that both Linda and Michael were completely oblivious to the changes in me. Perhaps because we see each other every day, they might not notice the gradual changes. Then came a day in summer. Michael approached me with a plan, looking excited. We're going to celebrate Mom's 60th birthday this Sunday. She's really looking forward to inviting a lot of her friends. So I'm counting on you to handle the preparations. Saying this, he handed me a piece of paper. Written in Linda's handwriting were the names and contact details of the guests, the menu for the meal, specifications for the dinnerware to be used, the order in which the dishes were to be served, and even the brands of drinks to prepare, all detailed meticulously. What was astonishing was the number of guests and the schedule. Of course, Jonathan's name was on the list. 10 people? To prepare meals for that many people, with this many dishes. And on Sunday, I'll be just off my night shift. It can't be helped, Mom insists on that day. It'll be fine. You always manage to stay up until the afternoon anyway. The birthday party is at noon. So it shouldn't be a problem. Saying that, Michael left the room, leaving me in a daze. I bet neither of them will lift a finger to help. In my numb mind, I was strangely certain of this. And then came the morning of the 60th birthday party. As usual, after coming off a night shift, I staggered home and went about the household chores and preparations as Linda directed. Having done the laundry and cleaning the night before, turned out to be a saving grace. But some of the groceries I had bought in advance were apparently eaten by Michael, forcing me to go shopping again. Due to this mishap, guests started arriving at the house before I could even begin preparing the main dishes. While Linda, dressed to the nines, entertained the guests, I hurriedly prepared the drinks, a few appetizers, and glasses. I hoped to have the main dishes ready while they enjoyed those. Despite already being significantly behind schedule, I still continued to work as hard as I could. However, once time is lost, it's not easy to make it up. What are you doing, Sarah? You're behind the schedule. It seemed that Linda had instructed Michael about something, and just when the main dish was nearly finished, he came stomping into the kitchen. Seeing that the plating was not yet finished, he frowned deeply. What? It's not ready yet. Can't you even prepare properly? Hurry up and serve the food. Don't embarrass my mom like this. Grumbling, Michael forcefully grabbed the wine bottle I had set aside to rest. At that moment, a stack of plates I had set aside for plating toppled over, falling from the counter and shattering into pieces. My face turned pale because those were Linda's favorite plates. But Michael remained unfazed. Don't stack them like this here. With just that comment, he left the kitchen. Of course, he showed no inclination to help. I crouched down on the floor and began silently picking up the broken pieces. I'm so done with this. Why is it always just me? What happened? At that moment, I heard a gentle voice. Surprised, I turned around to find my father-in-law, Jonathan, who seemed to have arrived late. Standing at the kitchen entrance with large bags in hand. It seems he came after hearing the sound of the broken plates. Oh, did the plates break? Are you hurt? His words, purely out of concern and without any scolding for the mishap, almost brought me to tears. Well, it feels like it's been quite a while since someone spoke to me so kindly in this house. After all, the last time I saw Jonathan was back during Christmas holidays. He crouched down and helped me collect the scattered pieces of the broken plates together. Then, seeing the array of dishes laid out in the kitchen, he showed a look of surprise. All this, Sarah, don't tell me you did this all by yourself. Jonathan looked around, searching for anyone else who might have been helping with the preparations. But there was no one else. There never had been, in this house. With a sense of resignation, I told him with a touch of self-deprecation. It's always like this. Then, gathering the broken pieces of the plate, I stood up. Upon taking another look at me, Jonathan seemed to be at a loss for words. My appearance was clearly different from when we last met, noticeably worn and gaunt. My hair and skin were in terrible condition, with dark circles under my eyes, and not a trace of my former cheerfulness remained. And then, the mountain of dishes before me and my words. Did all the pieces lead to one conclusion? Jonathan's expression of surprise now morphs into one of anger. I'll ask my wife what she intends. You come too. With a voice lower than I'd ever heard him use, he said so, and I hurriedly stopped him as he attempted to leave the kitchen. But the cooking isn't done yet. There's no need for you to do it. With a sharp rebuke that quelled my slight resistance, he then led me towards the living room. Upon entering the living room, we found Linda entertaining guests, pouring the wine Michael had brought around for everyone. Sarah. How long are we supposed to wait? Oh, you've finally arrived too. Everyone, this is my husband, Jonathan. He's been on a long-distance work assignment alone for quite a while, but he made a special trip back just for me today. After that, the guests greeted him with warm smiles. Responding to their greetings, Jonathan also offered a brief acknowledgement. Hi everyone. Thank you all for coming today's party. And I am very grateful to you for always supporting my troubled wife. Excuse me, darling. It's not nice of you to call me troubled wife at such a special celebration. A troubled wife is still a troubled wife, in the truest sense. What? At that remark, the previously warm atmosphere in the living room instantly fell silent. I was standing behind Jonathan, but he made me stand next to him. And he turned to face the guests again. I would like to introduce her. This is Sarah, Michael's wife. Hey, darling, Sarah is still busy with the preparations and... Jonathan glared at Linda and shut her up as she tried to cut in, and continued. She got married Michael a year and a half ago. She was an accommodating, cheerful and above all beautifully smiling young lady. And I was convinced that my son would have a bright future. But how does she appear to you now? At least 6 months ago. She wasn't as emaciated as she is now, nor did she have such a lifeless expression. As Jonathan paused, whispers among the guests started to emerge, saying things like, she surely looked different from the photos. And, she's clearly lost too much weight. Listening to these murmurs, Jonathan then turned back to Linda. Explain why Sarah has changed so drastically. Ah. I don't know. Maybe her job is too demanding or what? Oh, don't you remember I told you she switched to a hospital with night shifts at the start of the year over the phone? So are all of Sarah's colleagues in this state of health as well? If so, that's a clear violation of labor laws. I'll have to contact the medical labor union. But that is... Still playing dumb, are you? I just heard it all, that you were always forcing her to do all of chores without any time to rest. Even today, she's just off a night shift. Despite you knew she was in such a condition, did you leave her alone to prepare for such a big party? That's right. On the way from the kitchen to the living room, I had confided everything to Jonathan. How I had been treated almost like a housekeeper for the past 6 months, with hardly any time off. As Linda turned her face away, unable to refute, Jonathan then sternly looked at Michael. And you, Michael. Knowing that Sarah was going through all this, why haven't you done anything? Well, it is. I mean, it's the matter only between Sarah and Mom, right? It has nothing to do with me. What did you vow at your own wedding? To protect and support her, to make her happy, didn't you? Does she look happy to you now? Well, yes, there were times when I thought it was a little too much. But Mom said if we have no kids, it's just normal. If you're a man, you should prioritize your spouse over your mother. Have you forgotten that your marriage broke down because both of you cornered your ex-wife like that before? At Jonathan's words, Michael turned bright red and fell silent. And I, too, in sheer surprise, gaped and looked up at Michael. I knew Michael had been married before, and I had decided to marry him fully aware of that fact. But it was completely news to me that his ex-wife had been treated in the same way as I am now. But while I was surprised, a part of me strangely felt a sense of realization, as if thinking, well, so it really was like that. Let me be clear, since she doesn't have children, it's only expected that she should be able to manage this much work. It is unbelievable that they've been married for a year and a half and still haven't been blessed with children. She falls short in so many ways as my son's wife. Even if she were infertile, there's no blame in that condition itself. Your argument is nothing but a misplaced outburst. Who do you think you are, saying such things so arrogantly? How could you, who have been away from home for so long, understand my feelings? You couldn't possibly understand, could you? Surrounded by people who constantly boast about how happy they are with their grandchildren, do you have any idea how miserable that made me feel? It was tough. I wanted to meet my grandchild so badly. With that outburst, Linda finally broke down in tears. While I felt a bit of pity for her in that state, it couldn't erase the physical and emotional pain I had endured for over 6 months. If the same was done to Michael's ex-wife, then I find it even more unforgivable. It's impossible for you to meet grandchildren. I'm sure they will never come to you in the future. After stating my position firmly, I thrust a few pieces of paper in front of Linda. These were items I had taken from my room just now as Jonathan and I were moving here. They were the test results from the fertility treatment clinic. Blood tests, AMH, hysterosalpingography, anti-sperm antibody test, and others, all normal. My body is healthy. If the situation was the same with his ex-wife, there's only one conclusion. The problem lies with Michael. What? You must have had some inkling, right? That's why you were so reluctant to get tested, wasn't it? Yet instead of defending me, you treated me like a housemaid along with your mother. Until now, I kept quiet about these test results because I still loved you. But after being yelled at again today, and you not even lifting a finger to help, and then finding out you treated your ex-wife terribly too, I just don't care anymore. Michael, let's get a divorce. Wait, hold on. Me? Infertile. That can't be. It's a lie, right? If you think so, you should get tested properly. Well, whether the results are good or bad, it doesn't really matter to me anymore. With that final statement, I turned my back on Michael, who continued to make excuses, and Linda, who was sobbing, and left the living room. Just before closing the door, I faintly heard the sound of the guests leaving one after another. Afterward, Michael and I formally divorced through a lawyer. He made a fuss, but thanks to Jonathan recording the conversation in the living room that day, it was acknowledged that I had been subjected to psychological abuse by Michael and Linda for 6 months. Moreover, when Michael finally underwent a semen analysis, it turned out he indeed had azoospermia, and Linda was furious about it. And then, after we successfully finalized our divorce, surprisingly, Linda and Jonathan decided to get a divorce as well. Jonathan mentioned, I had hoped she would reflect on and change her behavior regarding how she treated our son's ex-wife, but since that didn't happen, I had to make this decision. He apologized for not realizing the situation sooner and for not having Michael's sperm tested before we got married. A year later, rumor has it that Linda, ousted from the family home, now lives in public housing with Michael within the same city. Furthermore, it seems that Linda was cut off by her former friends as well. Moreover, through those friends, the rumors spread further, and now Michael is said to be feeling quite uncomfortable even at his workplace. And through Jonathan, I met a man and, after 6 months of dating, we got married. Jonathan said that he highly trusts the man who works for him. Now, we are living happily together. Recently, I found out I was 2 months pregnant after a checkup at the gynecologist, and I plan to share the news with Jonathan soon. After all, for us, Jonathan is not only the matchmaker but also the benefactor who saved me from a difficult situation. I want a child of my own too. In a sarcastic tone, my husband Alex says. I finally couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. What? What are you talking about? Isn't he right here? Until now, I've been harshly criticized by my husband Alex for our difficulty in having children. Even now, he's holding my sister's baby in front of me, as if to make a spectacle. What? Alex's mouth falls open in surprise. Despite all the evidence, he can't possibly be planning to play dumb. I won't let him. I'll make sure you all are the ones who are brought down to hell. My name is Natalie. I'm a 25-year-old homemaker. Alright, it's done. I was preparing dinner in the kitchen. When I opened the large pot, the refined scent wafted through the air. I tasted the soup I scooped from the pot. The sweetness is okay, the meat is tender, alright, it's exactly to his taste. Just as I was satisfied and sighed. I'm home. My husband Alex returned. I went to the entrance to greet him. Welcome back. It's your favorite soup today. As I took Alex's bag at the entrance and was about to head back to the room. Hey. Alex grabbed my shoulder. I felt a piercing gaze on my back. How was it? Today was the day, right? I gasped at his words. My heart pounded, and I felt dizzy. Answer me. I swallowed hard and opened my mouth. It. What? I mustered the courage to speak. It didn't work out. This month too, we didn't get a baby. I clenched my hands tightly. Seeing this, Alex sighed deeply. Again? Why can't we have a child? Making soup as if to appease me, how contrived. I'm sorry, but... Don't make excuses. All my friends had kids right after getting married. Thinking of names, buying baby clothes, they all seem so happy. I want children too. But we've only been married for 3 months, we don't have to rush. Damn. Alex stared at my face. Then, as if struck by a thought, he snorted through his nose. You're infertile as a woman, aren't you? Maybe you should go see a gynecologist. Alex snatched the bag from me and went to his own room. I covered my face with both hands. I too want a child. To bear a new life and feel its preciousness. To be moved by every little milestone in my child's growth. But maybe I'm not worthy of that. My parents disappeared before I was even fully aware. They vanished, leaving us behind. Left behind were me and my twin sister. We grew up without knowing parental love. Can someone like me become a proper parent? That's always been my worry. But I can't give up. If my desire for a child is genuine, surely, someday, God will grant me this wish. I'll hold on to that belief and wait for the time to come. Besides, next month is our much-awaited wedding ceremony. Since it's a bit late, my expectations are even higher. All right. Smile, smile. I went to call Alex for dinner. Today is Alex's birthday. I've decorated a cake and prepared a present. As I waited for Alex's return, the doorbell rang. It's rare for him to ring the bell. I hurried to open the door. There stood a woman. She had the beauty and style of a movie star. She casually brushed her glossy black hair off her shoulders. Hi, Natalie. It was my twin sister, Hannah. We are fraternal twins. Seeing my sister's face, which looks nothing like mine, I was taken aback. Hannah. What are you doing here? I just came to hang out. But, today is Alex's birthday, right? I wanted to celebrate just the two of us. Didn't I text you? Realizing her mistake, Hannah apologized. Sorry. I forgot. I just wanted to see you so much. I've been lonely since you got married. Since I got married, Hannah has been visiting our house unexpectedly almost every week, no, every 3 days. Because of this, Alex and I haven't had much time alone recently, and we haven't been able to have a proper conversation. But when I hear Hannah say she's lonely, I find myself unable to say anything. After all, we're the only family we have. Hey, sis. I'm giving you this bag. I haven't been using it much lately. I opened the paper bag my sister gave me. Wow. This is from a famous brand. It's okay. I usually give them to my friends. This time it's for you. Take it and go out to dinner with your friends. Oh, right. You don't really have friends like I do. By the way, look at this. The party we had the other day. Hannah showed me a photo. In it, Hannah and over 100 of her friends were elegantly enjoying a dinner party. I chuckled. Hannah, you're such a social butterfly. You're the complete opposite of me, and that's really amazing. You're successful in your career. You have money, and you have a boyfriend, right? Well, of course, this is just the norm for me. Hannah said with a boastful smile. I gave a wry smile at her demeanor. What? Then Hannah froze as she looked at the table. She burst into laughter, holding her stomach. Wait, did you actually make this cake yourself? Yes. Is that weird? Everyone knows that people prefer store-bought cakes. You're doing thankless work, sis. It's really sad. Hannah leaned in to look at my face and smiled. Well, that's what makes you adorable, I guess. Hannah smiled sweetly. Then, her expression suddenly changed as her eyes sparkled with excitement. That's right. I actually have some news to share. I'm home. Alex returned from work. We stopped our conversation to greet today's star. As I was cutting the cake, Alex and Hannah started getting excited about something they saw on TV. This is so pitiful. Despite being an actress, she couldn't have children after she got married, and by the time she finally did, she was 40. How miserable. Seriously. The two of them seemed to get along well, often gossiping about celebrities. They looked like a real couple. Look, baby pictures. My heart skipped a beat at those words. Children are a symbol of happiness. I believe that giving birth is a woman's mission. A woman who can't have children isn't really a woman. I get it. I really click with you, Hannah. We really do get along, don't we? I silently served the cake. Right, Natalie? Alex teased me. Hannah suddenly covered her mouth in shock. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean you. I was talking about someone else. At that moment, Hannah looked at me and smirked slyly. It was an expression I had never seen on her before. I sensed a definite malice in it. The reason my sister comes to visit. It's because she's lonely without her sister. That's why I couldn't refuse her. But, is that really true? After the party ended and Hannah left, I received a message on my phone. I'm actually pregnant. Remember I said I had news? Of course, we're planning to get married. Sorry for finding happiness before you. A family member becoming happy. I should be happy, I should be congratulating them. But inside me, something dark was brewing. And then, time flew by in an instant. Today is the long-awaited wedding day. We chose a small local church as the venue. It's somewhat modest, but we wanted to save as much money as possible for the children we hope to have one day. After getting dressed in my wedding gown, I'm spending a calm moment in the dressing room. But that peace was shattered in an instant. Bang. The door bursts open. I'm here. Congrats, big sis. Startled, I turned to see my sister. But an even more shocking sight awaited me. Hi Hannah, that outfit. What? What's up? I swallowed hard and then said. You shouldn't wear white to a wedding. Yes, my sister was wearing a pure white dress. Hannah apologized in an exaggerated manner. Sorry. I tried to avoid it, but I just fell in love with this dress, and besides. Hannah smirked. It suits me, doesn't it? This dress. My sister posed proudly, tilting her head as if to look down on me. Then she looked me over as if evaluating me. Is that handmade? It looks more like a dress than a gown. It doesn't have the usual fluffy dress shape. Yes. I like this designer who made it especially for me. It's embroidered with my favorite flowers. Hannah smiled with just her lips. Wow, that's nice for you. Embroidery gives off an old lady vibe, but it really suits you, so I guess it's fine? Thank you. I forced a smile. Hey, it's time. Alex came into the dressing room and spoke brusquely. You look beautiful. Not a single word of that was given. I let out a deep sigh. The ceremony went smoothly, and the reception began. Now, we'll have a speech from a family member. Hannah stepped up to the microphone. Instantly, the men in the venue started murmuring. Beautiful. Gorgeous. I wish I could marry someone like her. Their gazes went beyond the dress, entangling with her beauty and figure. Nice to meet you. I'm Hannah, her sister. Today, there are a few empty seats, but thank you all for coming. The reception had a 30% absence rate. We had prepared seats for Hannah's friends, but none of them showed up. As you can see, my sister doesn't have friends, only about 8 in total. She always spends her holidays cooped up, eating snacks and tapping on her cell phone. Isn't that pitiful? There were snickers throughout the venue. I felt the blood drain from my face. Hannah, what are you saying? It's a wedding. A reception. But I love my sister just the way she is. Alex, please make my sister happy. My sister displayed a smile like that of an angel. A round of applause erupted. I didn't even want to think about who it was for. After the reception, I called my sister to the dressing room. Why did you say that, Hannah? The empty seats were for your friends, right? You made it seem like it was my fault. I pleaded desperately, but my sister, with a troubled smile, patted my head. Don't be mad. If you worry about such things, life will be hard, won't it? My friends also said it was a nice ceremony. The two of them were nonchalant. Why? How could you? As I panicked, they laughed at me as if mocking. I was paralyzed by this incomprehensible reality. Soon after, my in-laws arrived. They consoled me and scolded Alex and my sister. We're truly sorry for our son's behavior. They apologized like that. I felt a bit relieved, but suspicion towards the two of them began to emerge within me. Little by little, but surely, a sense of discomfort was accumulating. 10 months have passed since then. Me, Alex, and my in-laws were heading somewhere by car. Alex, driving, was in high spirits. Man, I'm really looking forward to this. You feel the same, right, Natalie? I remained silent, looking down. We arrived at my sister's house. Alex and my in-laws were excited, surrounding the living room sofa. She's so cute. Glad she was born healthy. At the center was my sister. And her baby. Upon seeing me, my sister, holding the baby, ran over. Look, sis. Isn't she adorable? She looks just like me. My sister was radiating happiness. However, her eyes were wide open, enjoying my reaction with a twisted smile. Congratulations. I muttered softly, looking down. Wow, she's so cute. Can I hold her? Of course. Alex's eyes sparkled as he held the baby. Babies are this cute. Look, Natalie, this is a symbol of happiness. Yeah. What's wrong? Jealous of Hannah? That's why you're not getting pregnant. Alex, as if to flaunt the baby, held her and smirked at me. I want a child of my own too. At that moment, something snapped inside my head. What? What are you talking about? Isn't she right here? What? Alex's mouth fell open in shock. What? The in-laws were wide-eyed and frozen. Pointing at the baby in Alex's arms, I made sure everyone could hear each word clearly. She's right there. Your child. The lovely baby of you and Hannah. In that moment, the atmosphere turned ice cold. Alex's face turned pale, and Hannah's face contorted. I took out a photo from my bag and scattered it across the floor. The photo clearly showed Alex and my sister heading to a hotel together. I know everything. That Alex and Hannah were having an affair. As I declared this, my sister burst out laughing dismissively. Stop it, this must be some kind of Photoshop, right? Don't be ridiculous. The ridiculous one is you, Hannah. I suspected you two were up to something, so I installed surveillance cameras in the house. And then, when I wasn't around, the two of you. I pulled out my phone and started playing a video. The living room displayed Hannah and Alex's affair. Hannah's face turned beet red in no time. What is this? Stop it. Stop it now. Hannah attacked me like a mad woman. After snatching the phone from me, she threw it against the wall with all her might and stomped on it over and over again. The phone screen shattered dramatically, making a strange noise. I watched my sister with a cold gaze. It's useless, Hannah. As my sister was tearing up the photos, she looked up at my words. Useless? What do you mean? Then, a furious shout filled the room. Alex. The father-in-law had grabbed Alex by the collar. Did you betray Natalie? With her own sister, no less. You monster. You even had a child. How are you going to take responsibility, you foolish son? The mother-in-law was in tears. Alex, condemned by his parents, trembled. Wait. We don't even know if the child is mine and Hannah's. Natalie is just trying to make me look bad by saying whatever she wants. DNA test. What? I said loudly. A DNA test will reveal whose child it is. Why don't you go to the hospital and have it done? But... Alex stammered but, still not giving up, pleaded with his parents. Look, Natalie can't get pregnant at all. A woman who can't bear children isn't fit to be a wife, right? Are you out of your mind? A man who commits adultery is the one who's unfit to be a husband. But that's... Alex averted his gaze. Seeing this, the in-laws sighed deeply and looked away. You have something to say too. Why did you do such a thing? Betraying your family is a grave sin. Hannah's shoulders jolted. It's not my fault. The bad one is you, Natalie. Hannah gritted her teeth, glaring at me with a face like a demon. It's because you stole the person I had my first love with. What? I had no recollection of such a thing. After our parents left us, I always acted strong. But you were always so whiny. It was so annoying. And yet, the person I had my first love with rejected me because he liked you. He felt sorry for you. At that moment, I swore. If you wanted to be pitied so badly, I'd make you truly pitiful. First, I decided to make you feel lonely. I kept telling you our parents are gone. It must be lonely. Then, you grew up to be a gloomy kid without any friends. Poor thing. Next, I wanted you to feel inferior. I am amazing. You are not. That was my goal. So, giving me brand name items and bragging about her many friends were all to make me feel inferior. And probably, stealing Alex too. Now you understand, right? You are beneath me. Betrayed by your husband, hated by your sister, you are the most pitiful woman in the world. Hannah laughed triumphantly. But I felt no emotion. I'm pitiful? I see, that's what you thinks. Got it. She must have expected me to lose my composure. Hannah stood frozen with a puzzled look. But I don't care about that anymore. Now I just hate you. I loved you so much, and to think you've been manipulating me like this for so long. It's terrible. Too terrible. So, I'll return everything you did to me. I mimicked my sister's laugh. Then Hannah recoiled as if she'd seen a monster. Was my face that scary? Both of you just wait and see. I left the house alone. Months have passed since then. We decided to divorce and Alex left. Needless to say, he was probably heading to my sister's house. Today, I was at a wedding. It was cold, so I wore a thick, long cardigan over my dress, making sure the dress underneath couldn't be seen at all. The church for the ceremony was spacious, with over 100 attendees. There were so many people that I couldn't even get a clear view of the bride and groom. The same must have been true for them. The bride and groom made their entrance, and applause filled the air. The priest began the vows. Do you, Alex, take Hannah as your wife, to have and to hold, in good times and in bad, in wealth and in poverty, in sickness and in health. Today was Hannah and Alex's wedding. I found out about my sister's wedding a month after that showdown. Hannah had announced her shotgun wedding with Alex on social media. That post also mentioned the wedding. They had prepared quite early. Probably, they had been planning it even before my own wedding. That's why my sister didn't invite her friends to my wedding. I didn't create invitations for my sister's friends. Hannah said she'd make a group chat and confirm the participants herself. She wanted to reduce my burden during the busy wedding preparations. I thought it was a considerate gesture from her. But thinking about it now, she probably never made that group chat. Yet she lied about everyone attending. No one was invited to the ceremony. That's why no one came. Such a simple answer. Thinking back, it seems Alex had only invited acquaintances with whom he had a shallow relationship. Before and after our marriage, I was never introduced to Alex's close friends. Whether Alex had been connected with my sister before marrying me or it was just bad timing, the reason will forever remain a mystery. But one thing is for sure. They wanted this to be their first wedding ceremony. They probably wanted to erase all my time with him. How can I accept that? What was all the time I loved Alex and spent for him then? Destroying one person's life to find happiness for themselves is unforgivable. I reaffirmed my determination for revenge. As the wedding ceremony concluded, the reception began. Perhaps due to the large number of people, it was a buffet-style party, and the venue was bustling. I kept to the shadows. Now, we will present a congratulatory movie. Since the groom's parents couldn't attend today, they've sent us a special video. Please watch. The staff announced proudly. What, Hannah and Alex were taken aback by this. The venue's screen lit up, showing the in-laws. They were smiling, but their eyes had the sharpness of hunters spotting their prey. It's finally starting. I smirked as I watched the screen. Congratulations on your marriage, Alex and Hannah. Congratulations. In the video, the two of them exchanged smiles. Thank you for coming today, everyone. As a token of our gratitude, we'd like to give you a gift. Excited murmurs rose from the crowd. What is it? A present? The mother-in-law interrupted. It's a gift of words. Now, it's your turn, Dad. Leave it to me. The mother-in-law's previously relaxed expression tightened, turning devilish. See the bride there? She's Alex's mistress. And that mistress is his wife's own sister. Do you understand what we're saying? The people standing there aren't a fresh couple. They're adulterers. We will never acknowledge this marriage between these two. And we will sever all ties with them from now on. Stop the video. Alex's scream echoed as the video abruptly cut off. But it was already too late. The attendees were speechless from the shocking revelation. Alex stood up and shouted. Everyone. That was just a joke by my parents. It was a bit too provocative, right? The crowd began to murmur. Is that so? That was. Just as Hannah began to make her excuses on the microphone. I snatched the microphone from her. It's true. With just that one word, I made my statement. Then, I took off the cardigan I was wearing. Beneath it was a white dress. A year ago, I wore this dress when I married Alex. You remember, don't you, Alex? As I looked at Alex, his face turned deathly pale, and he was frozen. I took the opportunity to pull out something from an envelope I had and scattered it around the venue. It was a photo of Hannah and Alex's affair. And photos from my wedding with Alex. The copied photos were enough to be distributed among all the guests. Looking over the chaotic venue, I took a deep breath. I did it, I really did it. After everything was done, I collapsed on the spot, half in a daze. Suddenly, someone grabbed me by the collar. Looking up, I saw Hannah, her eyes wide open as if they were about to pop out, staring at me. Why are you here? You weren't invited. I didn't tell you the place or the time. I burst out laughing at Hannah's panic. What are you talking about, Hannah? You did tell me, on social media. Hinting, right? I caught on immediately. Hannah's wedding announcement had, considerately enough, included the date of the wedding. With each update on social media, she detailed the ambience of the venue and the meticulous care she took in choosing it. It was probably meant to spite me. I'm going to have such a wonderful wedding. Not like yours. But that became a clue for me. It was easy to find on the internet. Social media can be scary, right? But why were you allowed in the venue? Your name wasn't on the guest list. I sighed and gave the obvious answer. Because I'm the bride's sister. The receptionist was one of your friends, right? She knew my face, so she let me in. They wouldn't kick out the bride's sister just because she wasn't on the guest list, right? You mean, you brought that video too? You brought it in secret, saying it was a surprise? We didn't invite those two. That's right. Your parents-in-law sided with me. They came to my house to apologize, saying they couldn't stand to see Alex and you happy. So? We all planned today's event together. I pointed around the venue and laughed. Look, everyone's leaving. Watching the guests leave, Hannah's face turned pale. Wait, everyone. Her friends turned back to her all at once. Oh, Hannah. Why are you leaving? Those photos. The photos might be fake. But we don't want to associate with someone who might have committed adultery. Being with you would lower our own value. Value? But we're friends, right? It's rich hearing that from you, after all the brand name gifts you've used to lure us in. Well, we were also friends with you for that reason. That's why we helped you, right? Taking group photos to show off to someone. This can't be happening. Let me tell you one last thing. You've always seen us as just numbers, right? The more, the better. You don't care about each of us individually. It must have hit the mark. Hannah bit her lip hard. Goodbye, Hannah. Her friends left. In the now silent and deserted venue, there sat Hannah on the floor, Alex holding his head in his hands, and me, strangely calm. Well then, Hannah, see you around. I left the venue. A few days after Hannah's wedding, I was relaxing at home. However, I knew that this tranquility was only temporary. The doorbell rang. I checked the peephole and opened the door. Natalie. Alex lunged at me. How dare you pull such a ridiculous stunt? You ruined our happiness. Unbelievable, you wicked woman. Hannah appeared behind Alex and pushed me. I hit the wall and slumped to the floor. But that didn't matter to me. I murmured in a cold voice. You two never learn. But it's good you came to me, I murmured coolly. What? Hannah crossed her arms and looked down at me. Alex, check your email. There's important information in there. What? I had sent an email just before opening the door. I made sure to attach photos and videos. Photos and videos? You're doing that again. Alex picked up his cell phone with a look of annoyance. His face gradually turned red with anger. He swung around, thrusting the screen at Hannah. Hannah. Who's this old guy? The photos showed Hannah in flashy, revealing clothes, holding hands with several older men. The video captured her entering and exiting hotels with them and receiving money. Sugar dating, right, Hannah? I stated flatly. Hannah, you're always buying brand name items. Probably to show off to me. But that's impossible on a regular salary. So, I did some digging. It was kind of fun, like being a detective. Natalie. Hannah's breathing grew ragged. I turned to Alex, who was looking dejected. Hey, Alex. Did you get the DNA test done? What? Didn't I say? A DNA test would prove if the child is really you and Hannah's. There's no need for that. Because... Alex gasped. He probably realized the horrifying possibility. Alex. I spoke clearly and concisely. Whose child do you think it is? At that moment, Alex pulled Hannah's hand towards him. Looking her straight in the eye, he whispered. Hannah, did you betray me? After all you've led me to believe, even about the child. What are you talking about? That child is yours. Are you doubting me? Of course, I am. How can I trust a woman who secretly does sugar dating? You trust Natalie over me? So, you'll agree to a DNA test, right? We're going to the hospital tomorrow, okay? Alex clung to Hannah's hand, desperately wanting to believe her. That is, well. Hannah mumbled her words. This reaction was clear evidence. Alex raked his fingers through his hair in frustration. Damn it. I thought having a beautiful wife would be something to brag about, but look at this mess. You sisters have completely ruined my life. Stomping his feet, Alex lashed out at the furniture and stormed out of the house. Hannah, who tried to stop him, seemed to be pushed aside and sat slumped on the floor. Hannah. Looking down at her, I decided to provoke her further. So, how do you feel now? Hannah twitched in response. Once the test results are out, Alex will leave you. And you've lost all your friends too. Hannah glared at me fiercely. I have friends. Not everyone has left me. Then, what messages did you receive? What? Hannah let out a bewildered cry. She probably hadn't expected such a question. Right after the ceremony. Did anyone show concern? Ask about the situation? Offer you comfort? Hannah uncomfortably averted her gaze from me. I received messages, you know. Even when you tried to disgrace me with that bizarre speech, and when I divorced Alex. Sure, I only have 8 friends. But every one of them worried and consoled me. Despite having many more friends, no one worried about you, did they? I could hear Hannah grinding her teeth. Abandoned by the man you stole from me, and now friendless. Hannah, that's truly pitiable. I meant every word. Hannah suddenly raised her head and yelled. Pitiable? Me? What are you talking about? That's just your perspective. I'm not pitiable. I'm beautiful, have a great figure. And am valued enough to be spoiled by men. The pitiable one is you, with nothing to boast about. I felt no emotion towards Hannah's outburst and quickly replied. That's right. Then let me say this too. Hannah, you are not above me. Not in the past, not now, and not in the future. What? I often praised you, right? Saying you're amazing for having so many brand name items, for having so many friends. That's what you wanted, right? For me to admit that you were superior. That's right. So what? You know, I've never once thought you were amazing in my life. What? I glanced at Hannah's bag tossed aside on the floor. I'm not at all interested in brand name items. And I don't care about having a few friends. I've never aspired to be someone with many friends. That's the kind of values I hold. So, Hannah, you were never actually able to get one over on me. What? No way. You were always saying how envious you were of me, how amazing I was. I said those things to make you happy because we're family. When someone's bragging with a smile, I wouldn't just dismiss it. In a word, I was flattering you. You took it seriously. What? Because I loved you, Hannah. We were the only family we had, and I didn't want to lose you, so I was considerate. Hannah screamed with a trembling voice. Don't lie. You were troubled because you couldn't have children. I don't care about that anymore. I answered with a sigh. In my life with Alex, I convinced myself that I had to have children. But life isn't that simple. There are many different people and many different ways to live. I won't suffer by obsessing over having children anymore. So, what I did was... Hannah began to tremble violently. I dragged the now immobile Hannah outside the house. Goodbye, Hannah. I closed the door with a bang. After that, Hannah and Alex got divorced. The DNA test results showed that the child wasn't Alex's. The news of Hannah and Alex's affair spread quickly. It was inevitable since they had invited 100 people to their wedding. Alex and Hannah were fired from their jobs and struggled to find new employment, living a difficult life with day-to-day jobs. I moved away from my hometown to start a new life. In this place, without Hannah and Alex, I plan to forget everything and start over. Today, I'm going to visit a friend's house. Apparently, they've had a baby. I ring the bell, holding a baby gift in my hand. My friend opens the door with the happiest smile. Congratulations. I sincerely offered my congratulations.